So in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about job order costing and what comes with this chapter. And so what we're doing, the whole purpose of what we're doing is calculating product cost. And that product can be something that we made. So we have direct materials, direct labor, manufacturing overhead. It can be something that we purchased and resold, or it can be a service. And so don't think this is just applicable to manufacturing, even though that is what we often talk about, because that's kind of the most complicated of the three. So if we understand that, then we have a pretty good feel for how to do the others. And so I'm just going to kind of talk through an example of how you would use job order costing and how you would calculate predetermined overhead rates. And so let's just assume that we've got a facility that allocates overhead based on direct labor hours. So overhead is allocated based on direct labor hours. And let's say that we estimate 40,000 direct labor hours for the year. So we've got this upcoming year. We're trying to figure out what our product cost is going to be so that we can set our sales price, so that we can control that if we need to, drop it, see if we have a little bit of flexibility, margin of safety, and so forth. And so we're estimating for the upcoming year, and we estimate that we will work 40,000 direct labor hours. And then let's also estimate that our overhead, our fixed manufacturing overhead, and our variable manufacturing overhead, let's go ahead and estimate those as well. And so let's say that our fixed manufacturing overhead is going to be $188,000. So this is our fixed manufacturing overhead. And we're going to say that our variable manufacturing overhead is $2 per direct labor hour. Now remember, these are estimates. All of this is an estimate. So we're just kind of planning ahead for the year. And then let's continue to talk about this scenario. And let's just say that, well, let's just stop right there. Let's say that we need to find out what our predetermined overhead rate is. And so we're planning ahead for the year. It's the beginning of the year. And if we think that our fixed manufacturing is 188 and we think our variable is 2 per direct labor hour, and we think we have 40,000 direct labor hours, then we should be able to figure out our estimated manufacturing overhead. And so the way we would do that is we would take our $188,000 of fixed plus our 40,000 hours times $2 per hour, and that would give us our total estimated manufacturing overhead. And I always forget that my Excel doesn't like commas in the formula. So $268,000 is our estimated manufacturing overhead. And then we have what is called our estimated driver, and that is 40,000 direct labor hours. So if I take my estimated manufacturing overhead and I divide that by my estimated hours, then I come up with $6.70 per direct labor hour. Now what this means is for every direct labor hour I work on a product, I'm going to allocate $6.70 of this $268,000 to that product. So if I work 1 direct labor hour on that product, I'm going to allocate $6.70 of my total overhead to that product. I don't know why that's highlighted, but I don't want it to confuse you. All right, so now let's say the year goes by, and as we go along, we start applying our overhead, and let's say that we actually work, so actual direct labor hours for the whole year was $45,000. So how much overhead did we apply this year? Well, we applied $6.70 per direct labor hour. So actual overhead applied, I'm having a hard time typing this morning, would be our $45,000 hours times our $6.70 per direct labor hour. So we actually applied $301,500. Well, what did we think our overhead was going to be? $268. So we have over applied overhead. And we've over applied by quite a bit. $33,500. And so we have a lot more overhead than we thought we did, which means when we were using our estimates up here to do our product costs, now keep in mind, job order costing, we have direct materials, we have direct labor, and we have manufacturing overhead. And this manufacturing overhead is applied at $6.70 per direct labor hour. Now, we also worked more hours than we thought we were going to. We thought we were going to work 40,000, but we actually worked 45. But this is the way that we allocate that overhead, and this is the way that we prepare our job order cost card so that we can work throughout the year. And again, your book has some really good examples of that. As you work through it, you can follow those. Keep in mind that these three added together is our total manufacturing cost. Okay, so when we say manufacturing costs, we don't mean overhead, we mean total manufacturing costs. That's our direct materials, direct labor, and our manufacturing overhead applied. And so I'm trying to kind of go through the chapter to make sure I'm covering everything. When we talk about a predetermined overhead rate, that's what this number is right here. We call that a predetermined overhead rate. Okay, and so that really is what you need to move forward with chapter 3, just getting familiar with the terminology, because basically what we're doing right here, we just continue to build on that as we have done with chapters 1 and 2, understanding terminology and looking at our cost, volume, profit.